What's going on, guys? We are back at it again, and let me close this garage so we don't hear all that extra noise. The Camaro is fixed, I think. Let me take you back. It's been a wild couple weeks. Last week we went down and saw Nick, built a set of new ladder bars. Then we had to get ready for the race. I threw the race over at Roxborough Motorsports Park. We got caught up again. Saturday we got a torrential downpour, got rain, so that makes 3 events, 3 instances of rain that affected it, but it is what it is. The guys that were there had a great time. We gave away money Friday night. Saturday we had a small turnout, but we made the classes happen. We also had Turbo John and Megalodon show up. Shout out to those guys. Huge shout out to Turbo John and his wife. Super nice people. We were able to get some money together and do a best 2 out of 3 shootout between them. Unfortunately, Turbo John wasn't having the greatest weekend, had some parts failures. Make sure you guys check out his channel. I think I already shared his video. He's got some good coverage of that. Came home and I've been working non-stop on this thing. Although it may not look like much, we've got a new set of front coilovers. We have got the alignment the very best I can for the parts that are on the car. Shout out to Kevin Wilson. I've been watching a lot of his videos and a lot of other folks' videos on drag car alignment and getting this all set up. We've raised the front end, and because we raised the front end ride height, we can only do so much with the camber on the car. We're gonna go out and test it because we've got a lot of things to figure out. I just put new ladder bars in. We've got a new diagonal link bar that I built. Right now that's set at neutral. The ride height has changed. We have double adjustable shocks on the front now, which we didn't have. There's a whole lot going on here that really the car just needs to be driven. I need to start figuring it out and sorting stuff out. What we're going to do today is load this thing up and take it to a test spot where it's not a great test spot as in terms of the surface, but I need to start figuring it out. I need to start trying to go 30 feet, 60 feet, 100 feet, and get an idea of, do we need to make any adjustments in the rear? Because right now, the way I have the car set up, the car is square, so wheelbase is matching on side to side. The diagonal bar is set neutral. The front end, I'm about to go and set the shocks on the front end, and the ride height, like I said, is raised. So we've made a whole bunch of changes and improvements in the car that I haven't really filmed. I've just been more concerned about working, and when you're getting this heavy into a measuring tape on everything and strings and tapes and everything else, I just really needed to focus on what I was doing to give myself the best chance. Cannot lower it anymore with these new coilovers, so we may in the future need to either do a shorter upper control arm or a longer lower control arm in order to get the camber set exactly where I would like to have it, and to where it's going to be peak at ride height going down the track or going down the surface, which is also why we need to test, because we need to figure out what is it going to be going down the surface. Is it extending all the way? Is it holding there? So much stuff to figure out, and we really need to start baby stepping our way into getting this thing sorted. We've got an engine in here that hasn't made a pass in this car with the turbo set up yet, so we've still got a whole bunch of tuning to figure out. The only way we're going to get after it is just to start getting after it. What does this mean as far as coming up? Well, with Dig or Die being this weekend, unless by some miracle, like, we are the luckiest people on the face of this planet, that I take this thing out right now, it goes dead straight and really, really fast. Faster than it's ever gone, straighter. Well, I wouldn't say straighter, it's always gone kind of straight, but unless it goes really straight and faster than it's ever gone, I highly doubt we're loading up and spending the $500+ of just buying alone to go down to Dig or Die. I think we'd be better off and better served. They're having a race at the local track this weekend. It's a prepped grudge thing. They've got a couple classes. I'm not really interested in any of that. I just want more seat time in the car. The one thing I know about those events is that if you jump in a class, generally I feel like you get to make more passes than if you're just there for test and tune. So I might jump in a class just for that purpose alone, just to be able to make more passes. Let's get this thing loaded up, get out to the spot, and see what we can make happen. This is actually a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. It's still got some crown to it. This is not exactly the best for testing suspension and whatnot, even just driving up and down this street so I can feel what it's like at speed and how did my front end alignment end up, all that kind of stuff. So I think we'll be good to go here.
Ooh.
What? Yeah.
Got stuck there.
So I want you to pour the puddle somewhere around here. You're gonna have to line me up, right? And pour the puddle somewhere around here. So I'll do the burnout and then back up, and we'll use the good part of this where it's all been filled and used a bunch and everything to try to gather and collect some data and just see if it goes straight. We're back in the garage, and the last part of the video kind of ended abruptly. I don't know if you guys could see, pretty obvious, but we did the burnout, immediately pushing coolant out of the radiator, not having a good time, which means that this thing has got a head gasket issue. If you guys remember, this is the engine that came out of the Nova, which now also probably explains why I went into a field. I've been screwing around too long, messing around too long. What we're gonna do, I've got a set of the best head gaskets that I could probably put on this thing. We're gonna do this one time for the Camaro, Firebird, whatever it is. After spending some time thinking about it last night, being frustrated because it seems like every time I touch this car, something else breaks, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna put a set of head gaskets in this thing. Now, we're gonna do it a little differently than I did the last time. I was back and forth on whether or not to copper spray the head gaskets. Just because I'd been reading some things and I saw different viewpoints on it, and usually I do copper spray them. This last time I did not. I also did not use a 7-layer head gasket, which we are going to be using now. Deal is, I'm going to put a set of head gaskets in this thing. We're going to try to go to the track this weekend, hit the test and tune like I talked about earlier, maybe jump at a class or something just to get more testing time. If it doesn't work, I'm going to submit. I'm going to go ahead and sell stuff, take out a loan, do whatever it is I got to do, and I'm going to buy an engine for this thing. I'm tired of messing around. I'm tired of wasting time. Head gasket, pretty easy thing, you know what I mean? Not the end of the world. We'll have it done hopefully in a few hours here, as long as there is no other damage, and probably came from spraying the damn thing. I'm learning my lessons. We're moving forward and we're making it happen. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm sweating out here. It is hot. I do want to give a huge shout out. Liquid IV hooked us up with some of their hydration multiplier, which I've been slamming today because it's so hot out here. I'll drop a coupon code on the screen, DNR Auto, DNR_Auto, save you 25% if you guys want to try it. I'm gonna get to work on this thing. We're gonna get the front end off, and I'm gonna start tearing it apart because I'm pretty sure the head gasket issue is on the passenger side, not the driver's side, but I have a pair of head gaskets coming, so if I'm gonna go through it and do it, might as well do both of them and give ourselves a fighting chance for the future. We're gonna get it ironed out. Too stupid to quit over here. So let's get to work. I'll set up the GoPro. We'll hit up some time-lapse stuff. I'll talk to you guys about it, everything, and try to stay hydrated out here because it is super hot. I definitely remember when I was asking about the AC in the garage. Yeah, we need to figure that out, or we need to get it fixed. We need to do something over here. Also, I got invited next weekend, which I'm really thinking about doing. I think we're gonna head out there as long as this thing is together, running and driving and works. If you guys don't know, I used to do a lot of work for Hot Shot Secret where I did film and photography work. I worked the Outlaw Diesel Super Series. It's a diesel drag race series. Well, they're doing another one at it's Rocky Top. It's in Crossville, and on Friday night they're doing a gas versus diesel shootout, which is no entry, $2,500 to win. Sounds like a lot of fun. I've been there before. Those events are always a great time, and because I haven't been working with Hot Shots this year, I stopped that contract so I could try to focus more on my own stuff. I think it'd be a good time to go out there and catch up with all the guys, you know, that I used to hang out with on those weekends, and there's a lot of good friends and a lot of good people, so we might go do that. You know, do I have a chance in winning it? I don't know, but it's no entry, $2,500 to win, and it's gonna be fun. I've been so stressed and so worried about trying to be the most competitive I can be, and you know, I want to kick ass and take names. I really need to start hitting some events for fun and just enjoy myself and be with good people and see old friends and all that kind of stuff. We might do that and maybe do the little gas versus diesel thing on Friday night. Who knows, maybe Saturday I can convince them to let me grudge race some guys, whatever the case may be. I want to change the focus a little bit because we still have so much to get sorted with the car. I want to focus on trying to have some fun and learning the car and getting it forward progress, you know, as we can and as we're having fun. Because to jump into big events, like I said, like Dig or Die, it's, you know, huge buy-in and super competitive, and those guys have been, you know, busting their butts and they've got it figured out and we really don't. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. That's enough of this talking. Let's get to work. I started by removing the turbo and the exhaust, all by just disconnecting the one V-band and then pulling off the turbo drain there. I was screwing around. I tried to go live on Facebook in the garage while I was working and just kind of hang out with folks and have some conversation, but apparently the music I was playing was against Facebook regulations, so they shut me down pretty quick. As I was pulling it apart, pulled the rockers off, it's always a good idea to just go ahead and inspect the push rods. Now, these push rods, I don't think it matters which direction they go in when they do go in, but I can tell you that they wear differently from the lifter and the rocker, so you always want to make sure that everything's wearing evenly and it goes back in the same way it came out. I was leaving everything connected to the intake and just trying to pop it off. There's a bunch of little washers because the intake is on studs, so you'll see me fighting with washers constantly throughout this process. There's washers everywhere, and of course they're always a pain in the butt to get to. After my 700th trip to the toolbox and back, I finally got all the tools I needed, or at least I thought I did, and was able to go ahead, get the head bolts off, and we're just about ready to pull the head off and see what kind of damage we've got.
Yep.
Alright, now we're at the point where I can pull this head off, and it's going to be a big soppy wet mess because I didn't drain all the water out of the block. I just took the water pump hose off and did that, but I'm out here sweating and getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. My arms, look at this, like my arms are going to be swollen.
There's bug spray right there.
Oh, yeah, well I didn't know about that. I think we're a little late on that. I'm trying to do it without taking everything all the way apart, because why if we don't need to?
Right.
I'm gonna spill some fuel, but it'll be okay. It's just super expensive X85, no big deal. Because we don't have pump gas in Delaware. Or pump E85, we have pump gas. We don't have pump E85 in Delaware.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's coming out of every orifice. Goodness me. Now, is this enough room to squeeze this head off is the question.
Yes.
Hey, there we go. Well, all the pistons are there. That one's pretty cut and dry. I think we just lifted the head right there when we were on the nitrous. So what I'll do is I'll clean the head up, and thanks to my special edition SHITBOX SUPPLY block and head fuckulator detector.
Does it say that on there?
Yeah, block and head fuckulator detector.
Oh my god.
Yep. we had this made, and it's actually the guy who makes my flanges. So he made me a machined piece, and I think all 4 sides of this are machined flat. But some folks had asked about making them. I don't know. We might make these. It's a neat thing to have. But if we do make them, it'll probably only be the top and bottom surface of the machine flat. He said it's too much to do the faces of it. But we'll take the block and head fuckulator detector, and we will check it out, because right now pistons are all there. They all look okay. I'm probably not going to be able to, I'm going to have to take a couple of these out to get this gasket out.
Watch your fingers.
Yeah, exactly. It'll cut
Sharp.
Oh, the key is to not ever try to grab it like this from the side. Is get up under there, and you should be able to, when it comes off, it should lift off mostly easily. You guys have had this struggle before. You know what it's like with head studs and multi-layer steel gaskets. A smart man would just grab the tool
Yeah.
that he's probably already got set up.
Yeah.
Probably the right size. Probably not the right size, but
How many are you taking out?
I don't know. When I was trying to spray nitrous through these things, I do not have it figured out as far as spraying big shots of nitrous on these junkyard LS motors.
I'm cringing.
I do not have it settled yet. I do not have it figured out. I don't know what the recipe is. I can make them live 200 or less. I can make them live forever. But more than 200, I'm lifting heads. So, yep. And there's the cut on my finger. Yep. That's okay. It peeled a little skin back. It'll bleed a little bit. The problem is I'm just creating too much cylinder pressure. Too much cylinder pressure when I'm trying to spray big shots of nitrous, and I don't have the tuning figured out well enough yet to do that. Like I said, 200 or less, I can make it live all day. The Dodger was running a 200 shot and just ate it and never lifted a head. But for some reason, when I spray, this was 250, when I spray more than 200, I'm lifting the heads on these things. So, not a big deal. We'll get this one swapped out. I think really what I had it apart in under an hour, probably. And then it's going to take more time going back together because I got to clean everything and all that. But we'll get it right. Go back together. Should be able to fire it up probably late this evening or first thing tomorrow and get it on the trailer and go to the racetrack. So let's keep working. Now by this point, I've already cleaned the surfaces of both the head and the block multiple times. Important note there, you can see me reading the directions for the copper spray. If you actually read the directions, it tells you it wants it to be dry before you start working with it. So I don't know about fully dry, but definitely at least some tack to it. You'll notice I'm not in a huge rush to get the head set down and get pressure on either side of that gasket, just because the directions said, hey, make sure the solvent is dry before you use this. I'd pulled up the directions for the ARP torque procedure on these. Even when I tightened them down with the little handheld gun there, I tried to go in order of what they were supposed to be. You can see I'm constantly fighting with my phone because the screen wants to shut off and I need the information on the screen. But busted out the torque wrench, started getting it done. You start out 25, 50, then 75 foot-pounds of torque on these. There is a specific order. Just go through it, make it all happen, and it should be good to go. once again, just cleaning and inspecting the push rods, making sure they all go back in the same way they came out. Like I said, when you first install them, I don't think there is a top and bottom, but after they start wearing, there definitely is. Believe it or not, there is a torque procedure for these rockers. I think they're only 25 foot-pounds, so some people like to get crazy on them and impact them on. I don't know. I've just been going with the 25 pounds and it seems to be working all right. I've never really had a rocker issue. Right now I'm getting some of the gasket material off the head because I am using one of those El Cheapo gaskets instead of like a multi-layer steel header gasket. And when I put it together the last time, I've seen some other folks do this, just a little bit of that orange RTV around will do a couple things. Number one, it will hold the gasket in place, and number two, it'll help make up for any imperfections and hopefully have a perfect seal. I can tell you that when I pulled these gaskets off, had I not screwed them up pulling them off, I probably could have reused them and there was no leaking. Now this part is the pain in the butt because trying to get the dipstick in and wear the bolt for the dipstick, get that done while the header is halfway on and not all the way on, just makes it a little easier. At least I thought it'd be a little easier, but I ended up fighting it for a while. Not a big deal. Got it all knocked out and we were able to get the header back hung and start letting that gasket set in place, that gasket maker I'd used. But this right here, I absolutely despise these valve covers. If you see right now, it takes me longer to get this one center bolt lined up and in than probably half of this other process. All right, well, we got that side wrapped up except for getting the turbo hung, but that's okay because I got some gasket stuff that I want to dry anyway. I'm grabbing my face. GoPro's probably gonna die, so I'm probably not gonna get a time lapse of the passenger side. Just know, I don't think we have an issue with the passenger side. I think it's okay. The head gaskets are probably fine. But, speaking of GoPro, but because we have the 7-layer gaskets here and we've got a 3-layer gasket on it, might as well just go ahead and do the work now, get this head gasket swapped out and make sure both sides are matching and good to go. I can assure you I will do this side the exact same way I did the other side, probably a little bit better and a little bit faster now that I've already done it once. But we'll do that and then we'll come back wrapping it all up, hopefully starting it. Alright, well now it's final assembly time. The intake's going back on and it's amazing how many of these little things like this steam port right here, I realized I probably should have done that with the intake off because these stupid little things take up 10-15 minutes where I feel like I could have the heads off in 10 or 15 minutes, but putting this one bolt back in just devastates me, beats me up. But it is what it is. I keep moving forward, getting it. Hanging the turbos by myself. Fortunately, the way that this was designed, it worked pretty well that I can be able to do it this way. Even though I dropped the little nut that was on the V-band, I still made it happen. Held it up there, picked it up, got it done. But you can see I'm able to hang both of these turbos by myself, so this is definitely a setup that I like. You know, I'm not super sold on hanging that much weight off of the headers themselves. You know, the turbos maybe aren't super heavy, but just everything combined. But it's working right now, it's been working, and I would probably like to design something similar in the future for any other vehicles I have, because the ability to do it all yourself and pick it up and hang it by yourself is really a big luxury. Also, with the cold side, having those rubber pieces and, you know, the silicone in between the pipes, that also makes a huge difference. When you have something that has clamps and it has to fit together perfectly, it can be a real pain, and I've done it a number of times on other cars. It's not fun. Well, there you have it. Not bad. 2 a.m. I can live with that. GoPro died, so I was getting some of the final assembly, you know, back together. I might fire it on the old plugs. I think I cleaned all the water out of the cylinders and everything, but maybe I'll fire it on the old plugs and then put a new set of plugs in for the track. That might be a better idea. But have everything hooked up and we are good to go, really. You know, I'll fire this thing up tomorrow. Like, it's 2 a.m. Meatball's asleep, Mallory's asleep. There's no need to be firing it up in the garage right now. But we'll fire it up tomorrow. We'll get it on the trailer. We'll head down to US 13, down in Del Mar. They're doing a prepped grudge thing, but hopefully it should give me some time to test and tune and figure out some stuff we haven't figured out about the rear suspension yet and the rear setup, because we haven't gotten to really make passes on it yet. I'm looking forward to that. And look, I will tell you guys, regardless of what anybody says about Pro Mod and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 get you a car that the front end comes off. Like, we did it on the Dodger. The Dodger's pretty easy. It's not as easy as this, but the Dodger's pretty easy to remove the entire front end because we welded the front fenders and the front clip together. This one's definitely easier. There's there's a few more things you had to disconnect with the Dodger, and I don't care what nobody says, man. They can call it a Pro Mod. They can do whatever they want. They can be all upset, but the convenience of being able to take this thing apart, do head gaskets, and I don't know. I want to say I started this project, like, I ran around all day and everything and got parts and got set up and everything was good and cameras charged and whatnot. I want to say I started turning wrenches at somewhere around 8:30ish to 2 a.m. Plus I screwed off and did a live, and I stopped at one point. I went to the gas station and came back. Like, it's just so much easier when you can access everything. And I'm telling you, if you guys have the opportunity to do it, if you can do it to your car, or you can buy a car where the front end comes off and it's very easy to get to, go ahead and do it. Because I was dreading head gaskets. I was like, man, this sucks. We gotta do head gaskets again. I keep screwing shit up, everything. But at the end of the day, it's not that bad. We're learning. I learned a couple things. I learned that I do not know how to tune nitrous on a stock Gen 3 5.3 above 200. 200 all day. 250, not me. Find somebody else. I'm the head lifter. You can call me head lifter around these parts. So I'm gonna wrap a few things up and then clean up and shut this thing down. Tomorrow I'll get up, we'll fire her up, see what she sounds like. I'm exhausted, but starts up, runs. We got it up to temperature. Now I need to go through and make sure all these head bolts are tight and load it up and take it down. It's blowing a little smoke. It's a little rich, so you can see one of the things that's different from this engine to the previous engine is the tune-up right now. It's wanting different fuel at different times, and right now we've got too much fuel in it. Not a big deal. We'll get it sorted, we'll get it figured out, and we'll get some testing done. So next video will hopefully be our journey to the track and hopefully making multiple passes and getting this thing shaken down and sorted out. But I wanted to say thank you guys, as always, for the support, for watching the videos. Look, I know I took a little break. I just needed a little mental break. I need to reevaluate my goals, reevaluate how I wanted to do things and get things done. And we're getting there. One step at a time, baby step all the way. Let's go have some fun. I'll catch you guys next time.